Maldonado, and you're on Leading with Heart, where we talk all things leadership and doing the hard right things. So, this is our episode about leadership on the entrepreneur. So, if you're an entrepreneur or a startup and you're leading yourself, are your leadership skills still required? Well, yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about all the core leadership values and why it's so important for an entrepreneur to be operating in these strengths at all times. So, you'll know from episode 2 we talked a lot about character. So, let's review all the leadership characteristics or the main ones that are so important as leaders, and let's talk about why these are so important for entrepreneur. So like I said, we mentioned character, mindset, beliefs, vision, mental toughness, metrics and systems, and grace. I know those are not usually what you hear in a leadership skills collection, but I've studied this a lot, and I'm pretty sure that all of these are critical components to your leadership success and being a leader who stays in the leadership seat and doesn't have a spectacular fall from grace. So, as an entrepreneur, these are even more important. And you may say, why? Well, because most of these have to do with, performance, your performance, how you're impacting yourself and the people around you. And the reality is you're not going to be successful if you are not living in these. And the good news is most of these, metrics and systems is pretty much the only leadership quality that requires something, takes time. The rest of them are ways of doing things, not necessarily a what, it's more of a how. So let's talk about character. Character is your integrity, how you show up, how you conduct yourself. Are you honest? Are you truthful? Do you do what you say you're going to do? Is it important for you to, be a faithful steward of what you have? And I'm not going to get too much more into character today because we talked extensively about that in another episode. Just suffice it to say, we all have these weaknesses of our character. That's how we're made. And it's like a pipe that you don't know where those weaknesses are often until the pressure comes on. That's how you test for weakness, is put the pressure on, and where there's the little spurts, that's your weakness. So if you're prone to anger, you're probably not angry all the time 24 hours a day unless you're a really miserable person. But typically that anger is going to come out when you're under pressure. You know what I found though is it's not just under pressure, it's when you're hugely successful. At that point in time where we've achieved all our dreams, that is also when the defects come out. I think you only need to look at the headlines on today's social media for you to see that that's true. Success is a high pressure situation, and it brings out your character weaknesses. And it's not something you're going to fix, like we talked about. You're not just going to say, poof, I'm honest. It's something you need to shed light on and be willing to work on every day. In terms of character, I think that's really it. For more on character, you can look at the last podcast. Now, mindset is huge for leaders and for entrepreneurs. And, a growth versus a fixed mindset can really, where it comes into effect is it not only determines how stressful you find life and failure, it also will determine what challenges you even take on. So a growth mindset is one where you see traits as changeable and learnable, and you see success as attainable because you see everybody as capable of improving. A fixed mindset says you're either smart or you're not, you're successful or you're not, you're a leader or you're not. And having a fixed mindset is bad for you because if you don't see yourself as having those qualities, then you're ruling yourself out of the game before you even start. And as a leader, same thing with the people around you. There's been studies done when teachers are told certain kids are dumb, those kids don't perform. Teachers just don't invest in them, they don't help them, and they don't grade them the same. So if you are a leader with a fixed mindset, you are not going to really get the best out of the people following you. If you're an entrepreneur with a fixed mindset, the problem with a fixed mindset when you're successful is you don't challenge yourself. And this also has been scientifically validated. Carol Dweck has an amazing series of experiments she's done. But we don't like the cognitive dissonance that comes with challenging the labels we have of ourselves. What that means in plain English is if we think we're smart, we're not going to do anything that makes us feel dumb, because it's very hard for us to rationalize being smart and doing something dumb. We can't. So we'll either won't do anything that makes us appear dumb, or we will. That's basically what we do. So we avoid challenges. If we think we're smart, we don't try new things because we don't think smart people should need help. It's not a sign of being smart to ask for help. So we're either going to do it on our own, or we're not going to do it at all. We're not going to be good at it. We're not going to do it. So if you've been in a business, if you've been in a job like HR or accounting forever, you're amazing at HR and accounting. You might know how to do a business plan. You probably don't know how to do sales or marketing or write copy or create a website. And because you don't know that doesn't, and if you have a fixed mindset, not knowing how to do that in your mind means that you're not smart enough to start your own business. So I think it's pretty obvious why having a fixed mindset is a real handicap. If you're going to start a business, you need a growth mindset. It's impossible if you don't. The next is your beliefs. Your beliefs are, your beliefs are related to your mindset, but you can have a growth mindset but still have limiting beliefs. Your beliefs are what you believe about yourself or about life in general, and what your reality is shaped by your beliefs. I know that for some people that's kind of seems like woo-woo, kind of weird, but it's true. Our subconscious operates at the speed of light, and our conscious operates at a chemical speed. When we think consciously, it's synapses firing, the neurotransmitters, and transfer information. So our conscious brains operate at the speed of chemical, whatever that is. It's measurable. Whereas subconsciously, information is transferred. It's quantum. It just poof. We can take in an incredible array of information subconsciously. Why that matters is because we have to filter that. We have to filter that or we'd go insane. People who can't filter all the stimuli can't function in reality. So filtering is necessary. But your filtering happens as a result of your beliefs. So if you have a belief about something, I'm trying to think of a good example. If you have a belief that you are not the kind of consultant who can work with Fortune 100 companies, you think they wouldn't want to work with you, and that's your belief, whether you know it or not. You just believe you're not Fortune 100 material. You will not have any Fortune 100 opportunities. And it's not because they're not there. They will escape you. You will filter them out because your mind will not think they're important because your belief says they're not important. It doesn't apply to you, okay? Your brain believes it doesn't apply to you, so it goes by. It's like evolutionarily speaking, if a client is a saber-toothed tiger that can eat you, you will notice it. If a client is a slug that can't hurt you, you won't notice it. So whatever you believe is relevant to you is what you notice. Those are the opportunities you seize on. Your mindset determines, once you are aware of opportunities, whether you will act on them, but your beliefs determine whether you're even aware of something. All our self-sabotage almost exclusively happens at the belief level. If you believe you're a scattered person, if you believe you don't finish what you start, if you believe that you don't deserve, if you believe it's not possible, it's not realistic to do work you love and get paid well to do it, if you believe that no one would pay you $10,000 for a speaking gig because you don't have anything important to say, then that's going to be your experience. So again, beliefs are critical. As an entrepreneur and a business person, you have got to have wildly optimistic beliefs. And there are ways to change your beliefs. I mean, you first have to identify these negative ones, and then you have to build in positive ones. And there are ways to change. We have this wonderful thing in our mind called neuroplasticity, which means even if our brain channels are wired for something negative, we can override it. It takes some time. and some repetition, and there's other techniques, there's things you do to create new beliefs, but you can create new beliefs, you can rewire your brain. When you rewire your brain, things change. It's feels like magic. I swear it feels like magic. It's not magic, it's science. It's cool. As a leader, limiting beliefs are important. For one, you need to make sure that your beliefs are serving you and your team. But as a leader and as a coach, especially if you're working with people who are developing, you have got to teach them about limiting beliefs. People will perform to their beliefs about themselves. As a coach and a leader, their beliefs about themselves are heavily influenced by your beliefs about them. It's a big responsibility. So as a parent too, people rise to your beliefs. You are instrumental in somebody's life of them forming their belief about themselves. Treat that as the sacred mission it really is. I don't think I could overstate that. Vision. I think we all know, companies have vision and value statements, and sometimes those seem like corporate exercise and silliness, but they're not. Your vision is your goal of what will change in the world as a result of your company. So when you're starting your business as an entrepreneur, you have a vision for what life will be like for you and your lifestyle, of course. You're not starting, well, some of you are starting nonprofits, so I shouldn't say that, but you're starting a business because you want to make a difference in your life, in your family's life, financially, but you also have an impact you want to make on the world. You may have a legacy you want to make. Maybe this is a business you want to turn over to your children someday and teach them something. Maybe you have a dream for, just your little piece of the world that you want to change, or maybe the world as a whole that you're changing. Most people, and it's funny because entrepreneurs are better at this than established companies. Entrepreneurs, they usually know. They have big dreams, and it's not just about the money. A lot of times when I work with companies, what's your vision? Oh, to be a $250 million company. Why? They can't tell you. It's just that seems like a good number. Or $1 billion company, or a $50 million company. Whatever the number is, they have in their head a number that makes them a real company, and that if they hit that number, they're a success. If that's your only metric, you'll hit that number and you'll fall apart because nothing will have changed. What's the why behind that number? And Simon Sinek says it best, of course, because he's awesome. But why? Why do you want to be a $50 million company? Maybe you want to employ lots of people. Maybe you want to make a difference in the town where your company is. Maybe you want to change the industry. There has to be something else tied to it that drives you, or it will fall flat. So as a leader, the vision is super critical. As a team, is your vision just to win games? If it is, then is it okay to cheat? Probably not. So why why do you want to win games? What will it mean? What is it? Think about your why, and you will be attached to your vision, and that will give you resiliency when things seem like they're not going well, which leads us into mental toughness and resiliency. Things are not always going to go well. That's not how life works. It would be great if the essence of a leader was to create it so nobody could ever fail. I think as parents, we'd love that. We'd love to make it so that our kids never got bullied, never failed, never got rejected, never got their heart broken. You think about our kids getting their heart broken. It's terrible. But they're gonna. I think that so what's more important is teaching them resiliency, teaching them how, we have to have resiliency. We have to learn that our value is not predicated on our outward success, whatever it is. As leaders, this is so important. It's so important that you are not, devaluing your team if they fail. You are keeping going. You are, you don't give up. It's not the failure, it's how you learn from your failure. As a leader, if you're demanding that they never fail, you're failed as a leader. What you need to do as a leader is teach your team how to recover from failure, how to look at failure as an opportunity. Goes back to growth mindset. You see how these all are connected, but looking at failure as part of the process and not making it the end of the world. I don't know another way to say that. Mental toughness. As an entrepreneur, man, you're going to need that mental toughness like you've never needed anything before, because there will be times when, So many times you're going to question, do I have what it takes? Can I even do this? Am I on the right path? Should I even be doing this? I mean, once you're connected with your vision and you believe you can do it, you got to keep yourself going. So mental toughness is grit, mental toughness, sharpening up that muscle, strengthening up that muscle is critical. And metrics and systems. Now, this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, having been schooled in OBM, organizational behavior management. But great leaders don't just tell people where to go, the vision. They don't just set the vision, they provide the map. They tell people how to do it, and they tell people how they're doing. I've had leaders in the past who say they don't need to know how to do my job, but they sure need to know if I'm doing my job or not. Otherwise, if someone's just telling me I'm doing awesome, but I know they don't really know if I'm doing awesome, and I know that if I have a problem, they can't help me fix it, those are not useful leaders to me. And I think we all know that. We all want our leaders to have vision. We don't want them caught up in the weeds, but we want them to be able to fix our problems. Metrics and feedback is the way to do that. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what your success metrics are, and you have to, be getting that data. As an entrepreneur, it's hard because you're doing a lot of things. You should be tracking a lot of your sales and marketing efforts as you start. Not to mention when you're executing on your contracts, you should be tracking what you're doing. For multiple reasons. You need to know what to keep doing. You need to know what to stop doing. You need to know what to do more or less of at any given time. You need to know what to turn on and turn off. If you're not measuring, you're going by gut, you're probably good enough in some ways that you will know by gut and you'll be right. But when you get bigger or you get employees, you can't rely on your gut. That's where a lot of companies start failing, is relying on their gut when there's too many guts, right? You need to have metrics and systems. You need to give feedback about the important stuff. You don't need to measure 100 billion things. You need to measure the 1 to 3 most important things that are driving your business, keeping your business going. I mean, there's 1 to 3 things that are the most important things for every person who's working in your business, even when it's just you. You have 1 to 3 most important things. You need to know what you're doing and how you're doing. And as you grow your team, and you have a team, everybody has 1 to 3 most important things. Track it, measure it. That data is gold. That data is how you keep from being surprised. It's how you grow your business. It's how you keep your business. It's how you pull it out of a slump. So the data and the systems are really important. The last is grace. And I'll see if I can say this in a way that's accessible for everybody. I mean, grace is the quality, the attribute, the ability to accept people's flaws and still value them. Because we go back to the character. When you have people on your team who mess up, and I'm not talking about an oversight or a mistake, I'm talking about someone on your team, whether it's you, your employee, maybe your client, their character flaw takes them out to an extent, and they mess up. They lie to you. They lie right to your face. They screw something up that was really big. The extent to which you show them grace is the extent to which you say, wow, you really messed up, and I still want you on the team. That's hard to do. Sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes you have to fire people. But if you've ever been on the receiving end of having really screwed up and still being valued on the team, and I'm not just saying, wow, you really screwed up, I guess we'll let you stay. I'm talking about being welcomed on the team because your value is bigger than your mistake. As a leader, if you can do that for people, you will transform their lives. Without a doubt. As an entrepreneur, can you do that for yourself? Because you may make a big mistake. Maybe you'll fudge a number with a client and you regret it and you get caught. What do? Maybe you'll just make a mistake. Maybe you're sloppy. Maybe you're sloppy, and because of your sloppiness, you're doing too many things at once. You do something that makes you not do a good job for your client. Can you forgive yourself and still want yourself to be in your business? We don't like talking about this stuff. We don't like talking about character, weaknesses that, result in bad mistakes. And we don't like talking about tolerating it. Because it feels like it either A, shouldn't happen. Nobody should have these character defects. And if they do happen, we should not tolerate them because that's weak. And I get that. I understand why people think that. That's kind of what our culture says. We don't have a culture of tolerance and forgiveness right now. We have a culture that if you ever make a mistake ever, you're going to suffer for it and lose your job and be canceled. So, what would it be like in your business and in your life to be the opposite of cancel culture? I'm not saying don't learn from your mistakes, of course. If anybody's hearing that, you're not hearing me. We have to learn from our mistakes. That's part of the mindset. You learn from your mistakes, but you still value yourself and your people, and you still love them and want them on the team, because that's how you transform lives. That's how you have joy and peace and abundance in your life and in your business. Grace is the key to it all. Even though nobody talks about that I know of in terms of leadership in the professional sense. So that is, those are the qualities of leading with heart that make leadership not just successful but joyful, and make your leadership journey one that feels very worthwhile. And it's also adopting these beliefs and mindsets and practices. It's the difference between joy and despair. I've said that before, but it's true. I mean, this will keep you from being in despair when things go wrong, and it will keep you joyful when things are going right. It may even keep you joyful when things are going wrong. So this was Leading with Heart. Thank you, and keep on doing the hard right thing, and we will talk to you next time.